Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's been a long day and I thought I would do another tag. I saw this one going around a while ago and I think I've finally scrounged up enough courage to do it. So that's what we're going to do today. One second. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and set this right in front of me. I'm at my work desk in my home office, which is kind of messy right now, but we're just going to go with it. Okay, so this is I should probably tell you guys what tag it is. This is the Instagram witchy community tag. So let's get started. Question number 1 is, what type of witch are you? So I, like so many others out there, am an eclectic witch. I do like pulling from different spiritualities, religions, schools of thought, and applying the parts that feel right to me. Hope that makes sense. So, but I do my research. When there is something, if I hear about a ritual or if there's a spirituality, I do my research first before I just apply something into my practice. Mostly because, well, I don't want to offend anybody, but for me, it's mostly because I want to know why. I want to know, why do you do that? Why did they put that there? Why is that involved? Why do they do it this way? What's the history behind it? What is the meaning behind it? I just really want to know. So if I find out that it suits me, I will incorporate the parts, or the whole thing, or the parts that I enjoy. And I like researching that stuff, so I have a lot of books. Lots and lots of books. Lots and lots of books. Ask my husband, he's always like, really? 5 more books? I'm like, yeah. I left the other 10 there. Anyways, so question number 2. Can you show us your pentacle, pendant, or other sacred symbol of jewelry you wear? I don't have a pentacle. I have yet to find one that I really love. But it would probably have to be a ring or earrings because I wear this necklace every single day. This is a clad off. I don't know if you can really see that. You usually see them in like ring form. My husband gave this to me when we were dating, and it's very special and meaningful to me. A clad off stands for love, loyalty, and friendship. You can see the little heart. For love. The little crown on top of the heart, I don't know if you can see that, means loyalty, and then the 2 hands holding it mean friendship. So anyways, he gave that to me. He is Irish, so there's more meaning behind that for us. Excuse me. It's not ladylike at all. So I wear this every single day. I've worn this every single day since. And that's before he even proposed to me, before we got married. So this has a lot of meaning for me. This has been blessed under full moons. It has been anointed. It has been with me through thick and thin. So this is a very special talisman for me. I also usually always have a moonstone ring on, and if I don't have a moonstone ring on, I have a labradorite ring on. But lately it's been moonstone for me. So those would be my sacred symbols that I wear. Number 3, have you ever considered joining or creating a coven or circle? No. I am super solitary, and I am super shy. I just can't do that. And that's that. No. How do you feel about online covens and circles? I feel good about them. Covens, maybe not so much. I've heard people talk about covens. I don't know what's happening with my hair, you guys. I mean, it is what it is. It's just an online circle. I might consider. I think I would consider joining an online coven or circle if it felt right. I'd probably be more lean towards a circle. I really enjoy the idea of online, because otherwise I probably wouldn't have. I know I wouldn't have the opportunity to meet people with similar witchy beliefs, spiritual beliefs. I just wouldn't have the opportunity to meet them without the interwebs. So I do enjoy that potential opportunity there. When and how, this is question 5, when and how did you first find out about witchcraft and Wicca? So a long time ago, I'm very into herbs. I love plants, plant medicine. I used to, not marijuana, like natural, not that it's not natural, but plant medicine. So I was doing a lot of research years ago in my 20s about the medicinal properties of plants. And when you do that kind of research, you also run across magical properties of plants. And so that was really intriguing to me. In fact, I found there were 2 witchy channels that I had found that had videos about the medicinal properties of plants. One of them was Tiptoe Chick. I believe she's a certified herbalist, so she does know the medicinal properties. And she's also a witch, so she knows the magical properties. So that was really interesting to run across that. And then Subirasri, and I think her YouTube name now is Megan Subirasri, who also was a Pagan Perspective host. But her older videos, she had herbal lip balm making video, and I found that one. And as I was looking through her other videos, I ran across her witchy videos, and I was like, oh, what is this? I am so interested. So let me find out more. So that's where I was introduced to witchcraft. And then, of course, when you're doing research on that, you run into Wicca. And I did, try a couple things there and research that, but that never felt like a perfect fit for me. So I like it, and I know about it, and I did try it for a minute, but it just wasn't my jam. So I did get really excited when I found out that you could perform witchcraft and not be Wiccan. So that is what I do. Where am I? Hold on. When did you first realize you were a witch, and what made you realize that? It actually wasn't that long ago. I kind of thought of myself that way for many years, but never really, owned the word until a few years ago, probably maybe 4 years ago. And actually, it's so funny because my older brother, whom I love dearly, and he loves me dearly, he called me a witch, in a loving way, not in a derogatory way at all. And I have my herbal cabinets right over here. So he'd be like, "Oh, look at all your witchy things," and he'd kind of check it out, and "Yeah, they're witchy things. I am a witch, yeah." So that's kind of, that sounds really lame, but that's kind of when I first was like, oh, hearing somebody else say it about me was kind of exciting, and I really liked it. So that's that. How old were you when you first started practicing? I thought about this before the video started. I think I was about 27. So I was in my later 20s, which was a hugely, hugely transitional, hectic, cray time for me, personally. So that's interesting that I kind of found that in there. Very helpful. It helped me out a lot, actually, during that time. I keep losing my place. I'm really sorry. Question number 8. What was the first spell you ever casted? Did it work? The first spell I ever casted was a ritual that I performed was a dedication ritual, and it did work, I guess you could say. But I do remember that night that I think it was a new moon, and I decided to do my dedication ritual during the new moon, and I did all of this stuff, and that night when I left the room that I was in, my husband, he was just like, oh my God, I have this huge migraine, came out of nowhere. He never gets headaches, ever, ever, ever. So I think, I think that probably had something to do with it. But I was just like, oh shit, I don't want to sorry, oops, all this magic flying around. But I think I just had so much energy going at that time that it kind of affected him. So I guess you could say kind of maybe it worked for me, but it kind of backfired for other people that were in my house. Sorry. And have you ever had a spell backfire or fail? No to the backfire unless you can consider what I just said backfiring. But fail, I would say yes, but I would also say I knew before I was done with the spell that it wasn't going to work just due to my state of mind. And I think, well, I don't want to say I think we've all been there because maybe we haven't, but if I get into a mood and then I'm doing something and I'm not, haven't prepared, grounded, all that stuff, really if I'm trying to hurry and go somewhere and I'm really not focused, I already know it's not gonna work. Where do you feel your power comes from? I am a pantheist pagan, and I believe that my power comes from source, and there is a lot more to say about that, but that's where I think it comes from. Within, which element do you feel connected to the most? You know what's so funny is I just realized question 1 is what type of witch are you? And I said eclectic. I could have also said pantheist pagan. Anyways. Which element do you feel connected to the most? Water is my initial gut reaction to that, which makes sense because I'm a water sign. I am very emotional. I'm a Scorpio. And there's just water. But if you asked my brother or my dad, they would say fire. Because when I was little, I used to always have to light the fires, always. We went camping, and when I was 9, and I remember my dad and my brother, every night we'd make a fire, and I just had to do it, and my dad would be like, why are you so cray about fire right now? And I'd just be like, can I light the fire? And then they would totally let me do it. But now I think, and I still am, just like we all are to basically all of the elements, but I would say water. Speaking of which, one moment, please. It's my kind of water. What is the first witchy thing you ever bought yourself? Okay, crystals, because I've always liked crystals. But an intentional, this is for my witchiness, was runes. I bought myself a bag of clear quartz runes. And that, I didn't really know much about divination. I didn't really know much about runes and all that stuff. And I can't remember where I heard about them and I wanted some. I just had to have some. So I went in my home when I lived in my hometown, and I bought some from this little crystal shop. And she happened to have one bag in the back left, and they didn't have any more. And it was clear quartz, and I was like, that's perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. I wanted clear quartz ones. So I bought them, and literally I was driving. I think I went and got them on my lunch break, too, when I was at work, because I just had to have them. I couldn't wait till after work. And I was driving back to the office, and I asked a question, and I pulled a rune, and it came with like this little card. No in-depth explanations, but it was just this little card, and the first rune that I pulled was Gibo, and I was like, holy shit, that is crazy because of the question that I asked. So I put it back in the bag, and I shook it around, and I mixed them all up, and then I asked the same question, pulled the same rune again, and I was like, whoa, what? I was freaking out in my car by myself. It was quite an experience. I thought that was the coolest thing. It was a huge sign. And then later that evening, like, I couldn't wait to tell I think he was my boyfriend at the time, my husband. And he was like, oh, right on, that's cool, babe. He's not like into it at all, but he was like, oh, that's cool, right on. Oh, then that was a good purchase. Okay, good. But later that night, I pulled 2 runes, asked another question, got a different rune, but I pulled it twice. And so I was like, okay, I get it. These are for me. So right off the bat, that was really super cool. So that was the first witchy tool I got myself. What is the name of your favorite tarot deck? Don't read tarot, only because I haven't found a deck that I really connect to. But my favorite card deck is a Lenormand deck, and it's called the Esmeralda Lenormand. She just came out with another updated version. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. But if you know Lenormand, it has 36 cards, and then sometimes the decks come with an additional version of the man and woman card, so you can do same-sex couples readings, or sometimes they have different nationalities, so you can kind of switch them around based on who you're reading for, which is really cool. But this deck has 13 extra woman cards that are you use them as a secondary reading to talk about the guide that is helping you with the reading or something. I can't really remember, but it's really friggin' cool. So there's a bunch of extra cards, so I just bought it. I bought the updated version, so I'm excited about that. What are some of your favorite herbs, incense, and crystals? I feel like that's 3 questions because those are pretty big. So for me, my favorite herbs, I have so many, but I do have a trio or 4, or I can't think of the word, 3 or 4 of them that I use. Don't make fun of me. That in connection with each other. So, oops, did I just, okay, no. Sage, white sage, ceremonial sage, sweetgrass, and cedar tips. Cedar, flat cedar. I use those for very specific reasons. And I also have ceremonial tobacco, not cigarette tobacco or cigar tobacco, like natural tobacco. So I use those quite often in almost every single thing that I do, actually. How do you feel about witches depict? Oh wait, I didn't even finish. See, those are 3 different questions. Incense. I enjoy Nagchampa. That was the incense that my dad used to burn when I was little. And maybe my mom. I don't think so, though. I think my dad did. So that really have a lot of sentimental attachment to that. It reminds me of my dad and my older brother, who are 2 of my favorite people in the whole wide world. besides my other brothers. Just felt like I had to say that, so in case they watch, they wouldn't feel left out, but they know that I love them. I'm so weird. Okay, crystals. I think I already mentioned moonstone and labradorite. Those would be my favorite crystals. When I was little, I was fascinated with crystals, and I was the kid who, whenever I'd go visit my dad, there, you know, the stores that have the little tumbled stone bins, and you get the little bag, you can put like, you can pick through them and put them in there and get it like for $5, you get to take the bag or whatever, and as many rocks as you can fit in there. And some of them are natural, and some of them were like dyed and that kind of stuff. But I loved that stuff. That was my jam when I was little, and I would always try to find Tigereye. I really loved Tigereye, and I just had to have Tigereye when I was little. I just loved it. I thought it was cool looking, and I think one time I found one, so I was like super stoked, and I never found one again in one of those little bucket things, but I just loved digging through those little bins. A little history for you. How do you feel about witches depicted in books, movies, and TV shows? I feel okay about it. The only thing that irritates me is if they're like the villain, and there's no other witches in the story, and all of the witches are bad, like just witches are bad kind of thing. That's kind of irritating. But I really loved, and let me tell you, if you haven't watched Penny Dreadful on Netflix, I can't speak right now, you need to go watch that. That is such a good show. Everything about that show was so good, and so sad that it didn't last. I think it was 3 seasons. It was either 2 or 3 seasons. It was really short-lived, but I'm obsessed with that show. That's some good stuff. Watch that. And also, I really enjoyed, totally different type of show, but I really enjoyed Witches of East End, and I liked how they were depicted there. What else? There's some books that I loved. I mean, I read historical ones about witches as well as fiction books, but in fiction books, if you guys, if you're ever in like a slump and you just aren't feeling good about stuff and you just want a quick little pick-me-up, you can read the Three Sisters Island trilogy by Nora Roberts. She writes romance novels, as we all know. But easy read, and it's about 3 witches. 2 of them know that they're a witch, 1 of them doesn't, and each book is about a different one, starting with the one that doesn't know and how she meets them, and she comes into her power, and it's just really cute, and it's an easy read, and I really like it a lot. So I like that one too. So overall, I don't really have a problem. I just wish there were more things like Witches of East End, where it's just like, oh, you're a normal person, oh, but you also happen to be a witch with all these powers, and there's all this other stuff happening in your life that people don't really know about. I like that. Can you recommend some books, websites, and other resources to us on witchcraft or Wicca? Books, I really enjoyed Christopher Penczak's Inner Temple of Witchcraft. I know he has a whole series, but that specific book, when I was first starting out, that was great, and I still I read books like as if they're textbooks, and I like to highlight them and bookmark them and flag them, and if I could show you some of my books, you'd be like, what are you doing to those poor things? They've got like flags and markers and stuff sticking out of them, because I just try to absorb as much information as possible. But that's a good book. Websites, YouTube, podcasts. I do love Lucky Mojo's Hoodoo, let me see what it's called, the actual name. Lucky Mojo Hoodoo Rootwork Hour. It's about hoodoo and rootwork and conjure. But that's those people are so knowledgeable. Catherine Ironwood knows her stuff. And they have a discussion group, and there's like 2 or 3 of them, and then they have a guest from the Rootwork Association network or whatever come on and join the conversation. So they talk about a topic every week. Then they take callers, and they take 2 callers, and each caller gets 2 tarot readings from different readers and 1 root work spell to do based on their situation. And each of the 2 callers gets that. So you get to listen to all of that, which is why I'm interested in tarot, because when they do the readings, you can learn about the cards a little bit. But anyways. And then at the end of the show, they give away a free spell, and it's usually given by the guest speaker. So lots of information on how to use herbs and root work, lots of different points of view. It's super, super informative. So I love that show. I also love the podcast called Ask Herbal Health Expert Susan Weed. So that show is not a witchy show, but it is a medicinal herb show, and she takes callers and gives them recommendations on what herbs to use based on their ailments. But if you listen to her show, you'll know that she is quite a witchy woman because of the relationship with plants, and sometimes she tells people just to sit with the plants, and she's a big advocate of, you know, getting to know the plants, and it's just, she's super, super smart. Like, she's the mother goddess of everything medicinal herb, and I love her to death. So you should listen to that show. I almost said watch. ¿Qué más? I think that's it for those off the top of my head. Do you ever doubt your craft? I doubt myself sometimes, but like, again, I think that goes back to the have you ever done a spell that's failed? It's like if I'm not in the mood, or if I just haven't really prepared, I know ahead of time if it's gonna fail, and then it fails. I don't know if I'm explaining that right. Have you ever experienced spiritual burnout? Any advice on that? Yeah, I don't know that I have advice on it, but I have experienced it where I just haven't done anything for a couple weeks. I can usually pick up my bag of runes or my Lenormand deck, and then I'm just right back into it. So I don't really have advice. I don't know. What made you want to share your life as a witch on social media? Honestly, just the feeling. I've been watching videos, I've been reading blogs from people, but I've been watching people on social media for so long, and I just talk to people. I just want to talk to people, and I really want to open the door to that a little bit more. So hopefully doing videos will encourage that, and I want to have an adult conversation where even if we don't agree with each other, we can still be friends and appreciate each other's views. And I feel like this community really can do that, and I would like to open that opportunity. Just want to make some friends. So, tell us something. I had a much more eloquent answer for that, by the way, but I just came out as be my friend. So that's what it is. Tell us something you know now that you wish you knew when you began on your path. I wish that I knew that the rule is there are no rules. And I know that there's some people that disagree with that, but when it comes to my personal practice, what I do by myself, alone, at my altar, is really my business, ultimately. And I used to think a lot when I first started out that I had to have certain things in certain places, and I had to make sure to address certain things, and this just doesn't fit. I feel too constricted in that, and I don't like it. And it took me a long time to allow myself and give myself the permission to do it differently than what maybe something in a book said. I think it's probably because I grew up with very this is how you do this is how you do that, you don't do this, don't even think about that. And so it was very kind of like there were lanes, and just trying to like give myself permission to go out of those lanes. And ever since I've been able to do that, I'm not perfect at it, but it feels really good and freeing, and I wish that I knew that early on, that it was okay to break the rules, basically. Can you share a simple craft with us? I can, but not at this time, because somewhere else, and maybe I'll do another video about that if I'm brave enough. Not sure how I feel about that yet, but perhaps sometime. We'll see. Any tips, words of wisdom for newbies? Practice makes perfect. Just try something. I know some people say be careful, you don't want to open doors, blah, blah, blah. Try something small then, but try something. You need to practice your practice in order to really learn, because you could read all day long and it sounds cool, but then you do it and something totally different can happen. So you need to practice and see what works for you. Just do it. Shout out some witchy channels. Okay, you guys ready for this? You got your big guns, Lady Grave Dancer, Ember Honeyraven. Sunshine Morning Raid hasn't been making videos. I think she made one or two recently, but her videos are still up. She's an excellent resource. Go check her out. You know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to pull up my little YouTubes right here real quick and look at my channels. Because there are a lot. One of my favorite early on, like I said, Megan Subirsri. She does Pagan Perspective, but her Pagan, and she has, if you go to Megan Subirsri, and I'll try to link these below for you guys if you want to look at them. She has a playlist, Pagan Perspective. That's where the good stuff is. I love her personal videos too, though, because she's just an awesome chick. Kellyanne Maddox, Noah Tempestari, Diana Ravenwood, I love her. Madame Pamita has her own channel. It's really good. Hibiscus Moon, if you're a crystal lover, you probably are already subscribed to her. The White Witch Parlor. Tiptoe Chick. Goldie Tigereye, new channel. Love her video. Athena Beth Black. Drawing Canas. I think she's Wiccan specifically. She's got her shit together. So many. I could just name everybody on my. But those are some pretty awesome ones. So I'll link those below for you guys. Name some magical places you wish to visit. Well, the magical place that I would like to visit is the wizarding world of Harry Potter. Seriously, I want to go there. They have a Diagon Alley. Hello. Spend so much money there. But outside of that, I would enjoy, my husband and I are planning a trip to Ireland. Again, he's Irish. He's Scottish and Irish, so we're going to go over there. I think that would be really cool. And there's lots of places here in the U.S. that I want to go. I want to go to New Orleans. That's on my bucket list. I almost went this year, but I have a work trip at the same time this other trip was supposed to happen. So I have to do the work trip, which is fine, but I was excited there for a second. Why can't I think of any now? Those are my three biggies. If I could do those, I would be pretty happy. And there's so many other places, but anyways, speak from the heart. Well, that's a lot of pressure. I better come up with something good. Well, Thank you for watching if you made it this far. I'm brand new to videos. I don't really know what I'm doing other than I've watched a bunch of people do it and I'm trying to just emulate that, what's worked, and I really hope to meet some kindred spirits here, people who just want to talk about witchy stuff, who accept me and all my flaws, and I will do the same for you. And I just really want to build a community, or to join the community officially on YouTube, and yeah, just meet some people and have some exciting, lively, textured, layered, beautiful conversations, and hopefully I can offer some value back to them. So I think that's it. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time. All right, bye-bye.